friends. How y'all doing tonight? Hopefully everyone's doing all right. I'm going to share this over to the WSFA Weather Facebook page. It's a good one if you're new to the game. If you have questions, as always, dive into the comments, leave it there. I'll do my best to answer all of those as I see them. There is a risk of strong to severe thunderstorms around the state tomorrow night. So that's sort of the whole shebang here, isn't it? Is our concern to do with that. Overall, the risk level on this thing is in the low to very low range, depending on exactly which part of Alabama you call home. So with no further ado, we'll dive straight in. Welcome aboard. I am Josh Johnson. I appreciate you hanging out with me on this Monday night. It is 9:40 in the evening as we record this. No, I'm not making a football pick there. That's a graphic that's in our studio monitor. Obviously, big sports news today. Auburn has hired a new head football coach. So you can watch WSFA 12 News coming up tonight at 10 o'clock for an update on that. So we'll go straight to it here. This is the map from the Storm Prediction Center out in Norman, Oklahoma. And they have drawn this risk map here showing you a pretty clear bullseye out here over the Mississippi Delta. Memphis, Batesville, Greenwood, Mississippi, Greenville, Mississippi, Tunica, back down into northeastern Louisiana. That's sort of ground zero for what may be a fairly substantial episode of tornadoes tomorrow. But as this moves into Alabama, the environment becomes much less supportive. And not to get too fine a point on it here, but the idea is a general low to very low risk level for strong and severe storms across our part of the world. But low risk does not mean no risk. I say that a lot. It's important that you understand we can still have tornadoes on low risk days, on marginal risk days, on borderline sort of setups. We can have tornadoes on these days. I say that not to frighten you, just so that you know it doesn't take a massive outbreak of tornadoes to generate problems for you and me. So the message here is pretty simple, that you need to be ready for the possibility of isolated damaging wind gusts, isolated pockets of hail, and one or two tornadoes tomorrow night. So what we'll do here, we'll zero in on the timing, and I've got a brand new data to share with you to do that. Here is the high-res rapid refresh model. Say that 10 times fast. And I will pop down our the Vance Law Firm and Bryan Jewelry logos only for a moment, just so you and I can sort of make the most of the screen that we have here. And I'm going to blow this up big and walk you through it for the entire kind of state of Alabama, because I know we have a lot of people that watch us sort of from all over, especially these Facebook Lives. Obviously, we will tend to focus on the areas close to home, but so here's how this sort of starts. Tomorrow you wake up, there's really nothing going on. This map that you see here is valid tonight, 8 o'clock. So here's 9, 10, 11. Look at it, we're on cruise control. So then scattered showers begin to develop tomorrow morning. And then as the cap breaks, the cap kind of a lid, an inversion, that will go away, and big cells will begin to pop out here in the Mississippi Delta in the early afternoon. Those could be tornadic. At the same time, we could also see, this is 1 o'clock tomorrow afternoon, and you start to see scattered thunderstorms developing down in Clark, Monroe, Conecuh, Escambia, Mobile, and Baldwin counties. Now, I'll click this and show you the forecast sounding here. There is some wind shear, directional shear especially, not a ton of speed shear. This would be an environment that would mainly produce hail, but we can't rule out a rogue tornado in this environment. This would be, again, for the southwestern corner of the state, early tomorrow afternoon. So just follow along with me here. This is 1 o'clock in the afternoon. So here's 2 o'clock. Scattered intense cells southwest Alabama. Most of the state is dry. These cells could produce isolated hail and perhaps a brief tornado. Here's 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Kind of the same thing still going on. Initial wave of scattered thunderstorms is affecting southwest Alabama, Most of the rest of the state dry. There is 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Same sort of thing. 5, 6, 7. Now by 7 o'clock, some of the more intense cells may begin to meander into parts of west central Alabama. So parts of Perry, Chilton, and Dallas, Marengo, and Wilcox County could get into the mix here. At this point in time, I still suspect the main concern here would be some isolated pockets of hail. But could we see a rogue tornado develop? Sure, you could in that time frame. Again, this is around 7 o'clock tomorrow evening. The storms are still west of Montgomery, and there you go. Okay, here's 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock. So now you've got this sort of cluster of thunderstorms that has formed. Back in Mississippi, things are a bit more serious. Here in Alabama, that we have a risk, but it is not as high as it is to the west. So again, this is valid at 10 o'clock tomorrow evening. You'll notice scattered showers and thunderstorms cover a big chunk of the area. For most of you, it's just rain and wind. That's it. But in 1 or 2 spots, we could have isolated problem areas develop with possible tornadoes, some pockets of hail, and some gusty wind. So here's 11. Here's midnight. Here's 1 in the morning. Still got this kind of cluster of thunderstorms. It may form into a broken line by now. Understand, too, as we go deeper into the night, some changes are happening in the atmosphere. A couple of them, actually. You are losing the daytime sun. Wind shear is increasing. Now, those two tend to cancel each other out from a tornado perspective. But our kind of maximum tornado risk would probably be in the overnight when we have more wind shear. Very strong wind fields, by the way, even down near the ground in this forecast sounding. This is what you're looking at here is a sort of 3-dimensional diagram of the atmosphere. And what you see in the middle there, these barbs that go up and down, those are wind speed and direction information. Over here, you've got temperature and dew point. Moral of the story here, the tornado risk would go up a bit as the wind shear does, but the good news for us is as the wind shear goes up, the amount of instability goes down. That's good news. That would serve to not diminish or not cancel out any tornado risk, but it would lessen it somewhat. So again, 4, 5, 6 in the afternoon, things get ramped up in southwest Alabama. By 8, 9, 10, things get ramped up into the middle of the state. It's scattered showers and thunderstorms. Okay, so here comes the line itself. See it? You'll notice by 4 in the morning, this runs from Mount Cheaha to Clanton to Demopolis. Within this line, still some possibilities of isolated tornadoes, damaging wind, large hail, but as the line moves east, you're now in the dead of night. You've lost most of the daytime heating, and instability is really on the wane. By 5 o'clock, this should be approaching Prattville and Selma and Alexander City. Then by 6 in the morning, Monroeville, Montgomery, Pike Road, Auburn, Tuskegee. 7 o'clock, moves quick, Andalusia, Troy over to Phoenix City. And then by 8 and 9 o'clock, this departs the state fairly rapidly. So again, to sort of recap all of this, there will be kind of 2 waves of thunderstorms tomorrow. The first wave does not affect everyone. It's a scattered storm scenario, and those scattered thunderstorms could produce isolated damaging wind gusts, isolated hail, and maybe a tornado in the southwestern corner of the state. The overall risk level from that first batch of storms is very low. Then a line of storms will come out of Mississippi tomorrow night and into Wednesday morning. That will arrive in the northwestern part of our area sometime around midnight to 1 a.m. It will depart the southeastern corner of the state around 8 or 9 in the morning. It will carry with it, again, a low wind risk of isolated tornadoes, damaging wind, large hail. So, again, to sort of, what do you need to do? The takeaway here is, it's really quite simple. You need multiple reliable ways of getting weather warnings. You need to know ahead of time where you would go if a tornado were to threaten where you are. It really is that simple. A winning combination would be a NOAA weather radio, because NOAA weather radio saves lives. I just realized that's all completely backwards, isn't it? Yeah, the way these cameras sort of work out there. Oh, no, I guess that would work out. Yeah, so it looks flipped to me, but to you at home, it should look pretty good. So NOAA Weather Radio and the First Alert Weather app. So watch for updates on the weather app. By the way, I'll be doing those updates. I'll publish a new video tonight before I head home. I will not send a push notification on that. There's no need to wake up people who have to go to work in the morning. But just look on the app and you'll see that video. And then Tyler and Amanda and I will be publishing videos once every 60 to 90 minutes tomorrow, just giving you updates on the situation. Again, if you have lived in this state for more than a year, you've gone through worse setups than this. This is not a First Alert Weather Day setup. This is not a high risk, moderate risk kind of scenario. This is a low end severe weather risk for the state. The issue is it's our first one in a while, and it's happening in the middle of the night while a lot of you are asleep. So no need to, the freak out factor on this should be very low. You should not be freaking out. If you have a weather radio, know ahead of time where you're going to go. You will be just fine. What is the overall diet sun-kissed risk? Well, I will be here all night tomorrow night, so there will probably be a few of those that go down. Leanne, I will let you know I have decreased substantially my consumption of Diet Sunkissed. Trying to eat a little better and be a little healthier. So we'll see how that keeps turning out. I'm down 28.5 pounds, by the way. How's that for a humble brag? Not that you care, but I do, and I'm real proud of it. It has taken a lot of work and discipline to lose weight during Thanksgiving and that sort of time frame. Football season and Thanksgiving, tough to try to lose a little weight, but got to get in better shape. You know, you get 40, got to get things going in the right direction. Sean Brown asked, will this system weaken as it approaches Georgia? Yes, it will considerably. Your severe weather risk there is in the very low end. It's not zero, but it's very low and gets lower the farther east you go. Haley asked, so it looks decent for Andalusia. Yeah, I think it does. I think, you need your weather radio in place. You need the weather app handy. But I don't think you need to, if you live in a mobile home, I don't think this is the kind of night where we're going to tell you ahead of time to leave the mobile home and evacuate before the storms even get there. You don't have to do that. If you live in a mobile home anywhere in our area, my advice would be have your bag packed, have it sitting by the door, have the shoes by the door, and be ready to leave if a tornado warning were to be issued for you. Odds are it won't, though, so I'm not going to tell you to go leave your home hours in advance. There are nights where I do that, and I don't like to do it. It drives me nuts to have to do it. But there are some of these high-end risk nights where we just think, it would be better if no one was in a mobile home tonight. This is not one of those. If you live in a mobile home, you need to have your things ready to leave, and you need to have a way of getting weather warnings that will wake you up. And other than that, you're fine. You just be prepared to leave. You don't have to leave until you go under a tornado warning. Again, that's if you live in a mobile home. Oscar asked, what about Auburn? The overall risk level in Auburn is very low. For you, mainly it's a rainy and windy night. There is a non-zero risk of a brief tornado, but those odds are very low. And Franklin asked, what about the Greenville area? The risk there, a little higher than it is at Auburn, but it is still very low. Kind of in the low to very low range there in the Greenville area. You'll have thunderstorms pop up by late tomorrow afternoon. A few of those could produce hail and wind. Then a little tornado risk in the overnight. Overall, again, for Greenville, Butler County, the risk is low. Pine Level, same exact answer. Low risk, late tomorrow. For Pine Level, I think the main risk will be tomorrow night after, say, 10 o'clock in the evening. What about Bullock County? Same kind of concept as Lee County, quite frankly. The risk level is very low and would mainly be after midnight, Tuesday night, and into very early Wednesday morning. What about Enterprise? Same concept for you. The risk level, frankly, in Enterprise is very low. And then we've got, for you at Enterprise, I'd say probably like 5 to 9 a.m. So it's mainly early Wednesday morning there. Kelly asks, can you, Jessica says, Josh, I got no reaction for my pun. I'm offended. I didn't see it. Let me see. These comments go by so quickly, quite frankly, it's tough to keep up. I don't know. I can't find it. Bummer. What about Prattville? Very low risk of severe weather after 10 o'clock tomorrow night through about 6 o'clock Wednesday morning. Mainly just rainy and windy there. The instability graphic, sure, I can show that. That's sort of, quite frankly, the saving grace in this whole thing. So what you're looking at now, I'll pop it up on screen here. So this, let's see if I can just do the instability. That's probably a little easier to kind of make out. We're doing mic checks, by the way, as we prepare for WSFA 12 News at 10, which is just a few moments away. Okay, so here's the instability map, or maps for tomorrow and tomorrow night. Notice how it's much higher back here, back in Louisiana, Mississippi. As it moves into Alabama, it is dying out quickly. It's a little higher in the west. It's a little lower in the east. So this shows you sort of, this would be midnight right here. And really where there's green, there's enough instability for a tornado. So that's midnight. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. By 8 o'clock, it's all gone. And you'll notice as it moves east, it really fades away very quickly. And frankly, I think these, if anything, you may have even less instability than that. So the short-range models often overestimate the amount of available instability. And quite frankly, that's the saving grace in this. If we had a lot of instability, we would be having a much different and kind of more serious conversation. What about Macon County? Stormy, best severe weather risk there comes after midnight. Will Alabama make it to the playoffs? If TCU and USC both lose, yes, they will. But they would make it as a 4 seed. And does Alabama really want to play Georgia right now? I'll leave that to Jamal and Rosie. Josh, do you like cotton candy? No, not really.
The answer is no.
The answer is no on the cotton candy?
The answer is no. That Alabama doesn't want to play Georgia.
Hey, Jamal says answer is no, Alabama does not want to play Georgia. What are your thoughts on the chance of a freeze at Auburn? I think those chances got a lot better about 6 hours ago. Time frame for Elmore County would be after 11 o'clock tomorrow night for the most part. Scattered storms around as early as 7, 8, 9 o'clock, and then the severe weather risk really arrives after, say, 10 or 11 for Elmore County. How bad will it be in Goshen and Grady? We really are not able to answer that question. If we knew ahead of time exactly where the storms would hit and when, we would just tell you that. We'd save everybody a lot of time. The science is not there to be able to answer that with a lot of accuracy. There will be some storms around Goshen and Grady in the evening hours through the overnight. I'd say about 6, 7 o'clock in the evening at the earliest, about 6, 7 o'clock in the morning at the latest, so about a 12-hour window there. Wilcox County, storm risk there ramps up earlier in the afternoon, say 3, 4 o'clock with a few strong storms and then a higher risk of severe weather, still on the low end, but the severe weather risk does climb a little for Wilcox County after dark. All right, it's 9:57. It's time to head over to your TV. If you're near a TV, just head over to WSFA 12 News. If you're not, you can watch our live newscast, by the way, anytime on the WSFA First Alert Weather app. Just load up the weather app, scroll to the very bottom. There'll be a big button that says Watch Live. You can watch all our newscasts there. And when we're in severe weather coverage, so maybe tomorrow night, maybe not, hopefully not, if we're in severe weather coverage, that coverage is also live and available free of charge on the weather app. So I would encourage you, if you don't have that weather app, now would be the time to get it. Don't wait until your power goes out, your internet goes out, and there's a storm bearing down on you to try to download it. Go ahead and do it now ahead of time before we have any type of thunderstorm issues. All right, everyone, hope you all have a wonderful night. Take care. We'll see you on TV. I will do another Facebook Live briefing tomorrow. Watch the weather app. We'll be doing weather video briefings with all of our weather team every 60 to 90 minutes in advance of the storms.